All right, I got 9 o'clock, so we'll call our June 21st, 2016 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. First order of business is please join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review.
Mr. Chair, we do have one change to the agenda today. It's regarding a declaration of a state of emergency due to the flooding that's occurred, and so we'll add that under administrative items.
Move the agenda with the change.
Check. Second.
Got a first, do I have a second? You got a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have some public comment from Miss Erin Simmons.
Oh, that was good timing.
We would welcome you. I'll give you about 3 minutes to visit with the board.
Okay.
And at that point, we are just going to be taking your information from you. If a board member has a point of clarification or of some sort that they want to ask you a question directly, we'll allow that, but there won't be any discussion amongst the board about the item you're talking about. Is that clear?
That is. Thank
you.
you. Thank you so
for
much
coming.
for having me today. My name is Erin Simmons, and I work with the American Lung Association based here in Mankato. Allison Fradenberg, Kelly Fogarty are here as well.
Good morning.
We have been working hard in South Central and really all of Minnesota for the last several years here on working towards reducing tobacco's harm. So we know that tobacco remains the #1 cause of preventable disease and death here in the United States. So there are several strategies that cities and counties have used in the last couple of years here to do that, to reduce tobacco's harm. The key things that have been happening, and you'll see on the map that I'm passing around one of those strategies, but the key things have been passing tobacco-free ground policies for county grounds. You can see on the map here that there's a smidge of a hole where Blue Earth County is, with most of the counties surrounding us having already passed a policy. Those that are colored in orange, that means that they have a comprehensive tobacco-free grounds policy, meaning that employees and visitors are asked to not use tobacco on the grounds. Those policies have been in place for many years. Candy, Ohio County was amongst the first. They're approaching 15 years of having a policy. Not one county has reversed their policy or done anything to weaken the policy. I think that's a reassurance that we can offer to you as we hopefully start this conversation, that it's gone well. There have been no regrets. The other thing that many counties and cities have done throughout the state is look at their tobacco retail licensing language. You as a county board you issue tobacco retail licenses to some of the smaller communities in Blue Earth County. And frankly, your policy is out of date, as are many around the state. You're not alone in that. But as the tobacco industry is working hard on a daily basis to change their products to be of more interest and appeal to our young people, we have to be changing and updating our policy language. There are some things that the state has done in the last couple of years that require you all to update your language. So back in 2010, the Tobacco Modernization Act was passed, and that really just brought some of the language up to more current times. So that is one piece that needs to happen. That's just a bit of a cleanup. The other thing that's happened in the last couple of years is that the state has changed some of their language around electronic cigarettes. That includes requiring e-cigarette retailers to be licensed. That also means that e-juice has to be in a child-resistant packaging. And currently, your language does not meet those standards that the state has set. So there are some other things that communities around the state have done while they're looking at that licensing language to do a better job of protecting the young people in our community. Many of these retail license ordinances go 20 years without being updated. We see some that are even older than that, that might reflect language like you have to be an upstanding citizen in order to get this license. What does that mean? So We would really like to work with you all in updating that language and in taking a look at what you could do to impact employees and visitors on your grounds. We have worked with many communities throughout the state, in fact, dozens of them, on doing this. What I have found to be most effective is to start with a work session. As I was talking, you might have been thinking, e-juice, what's that? I don't even know what you're talking about. So a work session allows us to kind of get on the same page for you to understand what these products are, and then to take a deeper look at what these policies might entail and what your options are. We also have access to the Public Health Law Center, which is a relief to many local attorneys because they specialize in tobacco policy and can really help guide that process and what that language can and cannot look like.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from anybody from the board, or?
I would be interested to have this on a work session.
I don't think there'd be any issue with that. Any questions, comments? Well, thank you very much for that
Thank you very
information.
much for
That's
your work.
very
Yeah,
informative.
thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work. All right, with that, we'll move on to committee reports. Commissioner Purvis.
Okay. On the 9th, I attended the SWCD meeting and the mayors and clerks meeting. Excuse me. Not a lot to report on either one of those. Those are both monthly meetings that we go to. On the 13th, I had the ditch advisory board meeting here at the courthouse, and then that evening I attended the Garden City Township Board meeting and talked to them, asked for their input on the study that we're doing for the Tri-County transit system that we're working on. Had a lot of good information from those folks. On the 14th, had the work session, and then the landfill recycling building open house that afternoon that was interrupted by some pretty bad weather. Then on the 16th, we had the extension advisory board meeting here at the courthouse, and gearing up for the county fair and other summer events. On the 17th, I had the AMC directors meeting up in St. Paul, and talked about the wrap up of the legislative session and other issues. On the 19th, I participated in the Crystal Waters boat parade at Lake Crystal. Had a very good time, supported a very good cause there. Folks are doing wonderful things over there. Then yesterday, I was at the Project ABE launch here in Mankato. A lot of folks there, good event. I'm excited to see that project move forward. Then later in the afternoon, I toured storm damage in Cambria Township with the Cambria Township Board. And then last night I was at the Lake Crystal City Council asking them for their input on the Tri-County transit system that we're working on. So that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner People.
Okay, June 7th, we had the, of course, that was the board chair and vice chair met with the budget with the sheriff and the county attorney. And then June 8th, Kip and I went up to Mike up in St. Paul, kind of in the middle of the hassle with the House and Senate and the governor with whether a special session or not will be happening. Then June 9th, we had the mayors and clerks at Skyline. And let's see, June 13th, that was the the county ditch authority meeting we had. And then on the 14th, yes, was the work session. And then the, I was heading out, we're gonna head out to the recycle center and of course the storm, that happened. So you made it so short and never made it, yeah. And then we had the, I think the last thing was, I had my had Partners for Affordable Housing. We had a budget meeting on the 15th, and then on the 20th today, yesterday was, I did catch part of the
Yeah, you were there.
ag scene. I caught you, and then, but I had to leave, so I didn't see the actual unveiling. I got a T-shirt. What's that saying about, all I got was a nice T-shirt. But that's quite an effort for the area. Interesting 28 counties and northern Iowa, southern Minnesota. Interesting to see how that'll unfold and how as an area we can capitalize on it. So
Mhm.
that concludes my report, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Strumberg.
Well, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, I was in Washington DC at a Transportation Alliance fly-in. Had some very good meetings with congressional, met with Franken's office, and then Franken himself, and then Klobuchar's office, and then at another meeting I met with her and talked with her, and then I met with Tim Walz and his staff. Gave, expressed what we need here in Blue Earth County in the state of Minnesota, and thanked them for the FAST Act, which was a 5-year transportation bill that the federal government passed, and expressed the need to start working now on the next one instead of waiting for 5 years down the road to do the next one. On the 10th, I had a Habitat Executive Board meeting. And then on the 13th, I showed up for the Orlando Memorial down at the Civic Center, which is the 49 people that were killed down in Orlando. That was very nice. There was well over 200 people at that. On the 14th, we had a work session, and then I had a Children's Museum Board meeting, and then met with you folks at the open house for the Ponderosa. And that was, the Ponderosa is an amazing building. I think that us as a county and can be very proud of that building. And it's going to be there for years. On the 15th, we had Greater Mankato Growth Business Before Hours. And then at 9 o'clock that morning, I had a personnel committee meeting, for TDS. And 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I had a call-in for NACO. On the 16th, I had my board meeting for TDS. We're happy to say that we have 4 good candidates coming up for to be interviewed. That interview is going to be on the 6th of July to get a new director at TDS. We are not going to do an associate director. We're going to have just a director, and but we have some very good candidates coming up. And then yesterday I was with most of you folks at Project Abe, the green seam unveiling. That was it's exciting to see that what we're doing here in southern Minnesota and south central Minnesota, and really all the counties involved along with northern Iowa. I'm trying to when we do our NACO trip coming up here in July, and we do our introductions, I'm going to try to really push the green seam and how we are the ag epicenter of the United States. I'm sure that'll go a long ways with some of those commissioners.
Trying to steal their thunder.
And that's it for me, sir.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Campbell.
Well, our last board meeting, of course, June 7th, when we finished our board meeting, we went up to Eagle's Nest in Eagle Lake. It's nice that they've got a couple different restaurants out there that you can eat at in that community where Commissioner Brunder's from. At that meeting, we discussed some traffic calming things that were very important out there near the intersections and on the intersection of Hafner and 17. I think that's important to highlight because that's been an issue in our community, and I think going forward, things sound good, you know, some of the decisions that'll be made to help make that a safer intersection. And on June 9th, had a NACO Central Committee call in with Cindy Bobbitt and Deborah Cox, the policy staff there. She highlighted, you know, going forward, some more unfunded mandates of concern which could affect communities. One of them she talked about was the ozone PCA regulations, you know, that are more stringent and can impact industry and things like that.
Yeah, I was able to make that call in too, actually. I made
Did
it
you?
out there in DC, so.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, good. And then there's some new standards for calling for governments to all replace all their light bulbs with energy efficient light bulbs, which is still an expense for some that are, it adds up pretty quickly. And then they talked about highlighting some bylaw changes going forward to look at for the new, for our conference that's gonna be out in Long Beach the third week of July. On that same day, we went to Mayors and Clerks at Skyline, and our new Public Works Director, engineer, you know, was there and gave a good update to everybody and did a really good job. Also, that was kind of highlighting in my mind the end of their police department up there,
Fire department.
Fire department, excuse me, the fire department. They sold off all their equipment, including the fire truck and everything. And Friday the 10th, I had a meeting with somebody who works in solar to get more updates about what's going on in solar around our community and in the state and in the country. And then on the 13th of June, Bob and I had our, I guess we call it our monthly meeting. And sometimes that carries on into a longer discussion, but it's always really good to have that meeting with you. And Tuesday, the 14th, we had our county board work session. We had the Smith update, which was important, and updates again from Ryan Tilgis on all the construction that's going on around our community here. We had a human service performance measures, which I thought was very excellent, that they are able to track what they do and how it compares with the rest of the state. You know, when Angie came in, and we ate then at the Thunder Cafe in Good Thunder. And of course Bob had, I forgot to highlight, we talked about the budget and the deficit that's going to be seen in the budget and how we're going to work with that. So I thought that was interesting. Then on the 14th, also that same day, we had the ribbon cutting. Well, I wouldn't call it a ribbon. What was that? It was twine with plastic, empty plastic recycled bottles or something hanging from the twine.
recyclable
It's a type
ribbon.
of.
A recyclable ribbon,
Yeah.
that's what it was. But that same day is when that storm hit, so we lit out of there, I lit out of there pretty quickly, because it hit by the time I got home, and it was, I'd never seen rain like that for years.
Gotta remember, that was a piece of art.
Piece of art.
Yes,
Okay.
that ribbon was.
Well, okay. On Wednesday, the 15th, I attend Optimist Meetings. It's a club, a fairly new club in Mankato. And we highlight trying to help reach out to youth in our community. We're still fairly new clubs, so we're trying to come up with all kinds of ideas. And one of them, we came up with several different ones. I mean, we've already had a fundraiser for the Reach. Our meeting was at the Reach this time, if you're familiar with what the Reach is. And so we really want to partner ourselves with the Reach here in Mankato as a club to support them. And we're going to look at some youth safety things going forward. There's a program that Optimists work with. It's called Respect for the Law, Promotion of Nonviolence. And it's highlighting your law enforcement in the area, but also encouraging engagement with youth, meetings and things, and allowing officers to share what they do, and breaking down those barriers with youth so that they can work together more instead of feeling like it's us against them. You know, it can happen in communities. And then on the 16th, I went to this committee that I got from Mark, but I guess I wanted it. It was the State Community Health Services Advisory Committee, and I am on their planning committee for their annual conference. And so it's pretty much an all-day.
You
thing.
like those plans?
Yeah.
You like all those plans?
I've been on some of those, AMC and now on this one, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Anyway, Saturday, June 18th, the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association. I've lived in that neighborhood now for over 37 years and have been a part of the association. We had our historic home and garden tours, and then historic narrated horse buckboard rides. And so I was part of helping to narrate with another one of my neighbors as we trot through the neighborhood with these big horses. They weigh about 1,800 pounds apiece. And had a fairly good turnout, but not quite as large as we thought. There were so many things happening in Mankato that day, you know, activities. And then on the 19th, I was called to go out and look at some flood areas because I just happen to know this family, and it's out by the Poor Farm. I was going to talk to some of the staff about that later, but I couldn't believe it. We hiked up in this gorge. A lot of it's going out into the river, and I mean the thing it just filled up with debris and created dams, and then those broke and created a flash flood situation that went. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. But I'm sure there's a lot of those going on all around our county from that last rain that we had. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. Most of the stuff that I have on my report has been mentioned. The budget meetings, Mark mentioned them. We had Mark and I were also at MICA. Mayors and clerks was mentioned, and yeah, Ryan did a great job presenting all the stuff that's going on in Blue Earth County. I was over at Mapleton Town and Country Days. Drew, you were over there.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't mention that.
didn't
I think
put that
actually
down.
most of
Yeah.
us were there.
3 pies.
Pies.
Forgot
3 of
about
them.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't put that.
Over there getting our pies, supporting the local library system, so
Yeah.
they were very appreciative of us showing up and buying our pies, and I thought they had a pretty good turnout for the parade, so that was good.
Yeah, they did.
Then we had a ditch advisory meeting, going over some different ditch issues, and you'll see a little bit of a change on our program today with how we're laying out the ditches and approving the repairs and stuff, so we'll go through that today. South Central Workforce, everything seems to be moving along fairly well there. We're getting, some of the grants are coming in, we approved all those and got the budget done. Work session was mentioned, the open house was mentioned, which I thought was a good turnout for providing the weather and it being that far out in the rural area, so I thought we did a good job with that. Will mentioned extension, getting exciting for the fair. Will didn't mention the Olympics that they're doing at the fair on Thursday night, and they want us to put a team together. I haven't checked into the details on it yet, so I'm not going to commit us at this point. So after I figure out what these Olympics are, we might try to put a team together and
No, let's get rid of
Team
try-
of 5?
Yeah.
Huh? Team of 4, but we could probably get 5 because we'll need a backup, I would
We'll need
imagine.
an alternate.
We'll need an alternate. But they were on us to put a team together, and some of the groups they met with, they were trying to figure out people to put together a team, and the
What
commissioners'
day was
names
that,
came up.
Thursday evening?
It's Thursday evening of July, end of July, so.
Yeah, we could have a tag team that
Yeah.
we could tag off when it comes time to throw the feed bags and
Yeah,
stuff
it's,
like that.
yeah, throwing feed bags, wheelbarrow race, three-legged race, just some interesting stuff, so I'll get some more information on that. The Project Abe was already mentioned. I thought they had a great turnout. Had an agenda discussion with Bob yesterday. MVAC last night, our EMP meeting last night, and we got our annual meeting coming up in July, so we picked out the awards recipient for that organization. I can't release his name now, but you all know him, so. And then I just want to mention Gary Evenson's reception on June 29th from 3:30 to 5. So if anybody's available, we'll be having some short remarks at about 4 o'clock over at the Government Center. So that brings me up to today.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I enjoyed seeing you and Pat in the parade, our county attorney over in,
It was fun. I think
Maple.
there was a lot of people
there's
there.
a lot of people there. I couldn't
Mhm.
believe it. That was
A long parade route when you're walking.
Yeah.
Let's get you shape for the competition
Yeah.
at
Well,
the
there was over
county
100
fair.
entries, or 100 people, I think.
Oh, was there? Yeah, how long was the parade?
Oh, it was long.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how Pat did it, but we were up in the front, so that worked out really well. All right, well, we got time to do one or two administrative things here.
Mr. Chair, the first item is the county board minutes for June 7th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next
pay the
up would
bills.
be the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I just got a couple questions.
Go ahead, Drew.
On the first week, Bob, Ayers Associates Incorporated, it's just the consultants. It says it was $30,477. I was just wondering what consultants that's for.
That's a public works consultant on CASA 14.
So you mean that the new rebuild, the realignment?
Curve, yep,
Okay,
over
there's
on
one
the
there.
eastern side of the county.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, some pass-through funds for Dirt Merchant was $232,000. Was that grant that they had applied for?
Yes, it was the deed
Finally?
grant. Yep,
Okay, because I know there was some stuff that had to be done before they got that, and I wasn't sure.
right. So the work has now been done, and so the funds have been transferred.
Oh, okay. And then there was one here, week 2, Corman Contracting, contracted services for $225,865. I'm assuming it's a big road project they're working on or something, but I don't know. Cooreman.
It's actually County Ditch 34 improvement.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, 34. And then INS Group contracted services again, $78,777.
Those are all ditches, so it's working.
Combination?
Yeah, number
Okay.
of different ditches.
Okay. Whenever I see those high contracted services numbers, I always wonder, what are we getting? What's the county getting out of it? Mankato Public Schools, cost-effective health insurance. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I've seen that before. Maybe it's for vendors, or is it for,
That would be a human service client where we're paying the school district, who is probably providing health insurance to one of their employees, but because of their income or family situation, they're eligible for the county to pay for that cost-effective health insurance rather than enrolling them in medical assistance. So medical assistance basically pays their health insurance
Oh.
premium, so it doesn't.
kind of pass through then, really?
Well, it's a way to kind of extend medical assistance coverage without having all the costs borne by the state system, since we have a private insurance available.
I've just never seen it before. That's it, that's all I have. Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to our 925 item, multi-agency law enforcement joint powers agreement. Patrick?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this is simply an extension of the agreement that you approved back in February. It was just a matter of timing. The BCA was at the end of their 3-year grant cycle, but I wanted to sign on sooner rather than later, so I had asked you to approve that back in February, which you did. We've already received benefit from this. We've attended 2 national trainings, one which was all the expenses were paid as a result of the grant, and one which part of the expenses were paid. So we've had 2 attorneys attend those trainings, and we will continue to partner with the BCA with respect to the child crime issues. And I would anticipate that they'll, at some point in time in the future, be back down here for another sting on the computer child solicitation type issues, which was very successful when they did it back in late last fall. So I would simply ask you to, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer that, but I would ask you again that you approve this agreement.
Move to approve.
Got a first and a second, some discussion?
I know
Questions?
they use a specialized technology too, don't they, with the BCA and things like that? Is that what it is, or what do they use? It's like a...
Well, it's they're techie, I'm not.
Yeah.
And
I think they do those.
And
Expensive.
I think Commissioner Purvis knows Donnie Chung, and when if you've got Donnie Chung involved, he was techie before techie was in. So and that,
Quite a guy.
if he doesn't know, then it's not worth knowing in my book.
Yeah.
So he presents at national trainings, he presents at statewide trainings. He's the head of this, and it's a very good benefit, a very good resource. It complements many things that we do with other agencies, and that's it is a good help.
Interesting.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And we got 929. I think we'll move into planning and zoning. By the time they get up here, we should be ready to go. Good morning.
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 We have several items to deal with planning and zoning, so Jesse's ready, I think. We're all ready to go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. PC 14-16, a request of David and Marilyn Lynch for review and approval of a conditional use permit to construct and operate one total confinement swine finishing facility capable of holding 1,350 finishing pigs or 540 Blue Earth County assigned animal units, 405 state assigned animal units, and this will be in addition to the existing feedlot. The proposal will utilize a below barn liquid manure storage area. The site is zoned agricultural and is located in the southeast quarter of Section 27 in McPherson Township. Mr. Meeks presented the staff report. The applicants were present and had no additional comment. There was no public comment. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward to the County Board a recommendation of approval of the request based on the findings presented by staff. And the board action is a resolution.
Okay, thank you, Chris. The applicants are in the audience. Do you have anything to add at this time? Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to comment on PC 14-16 for David and Marilyn Lynch, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and keep your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes. Anyone wishing to comment on PC 1416? And last call for anyone wishing to comment on PC 1416. Seeing no public comment, I'll bring the action back to the board.
Move to approve.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion, questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Item 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. PC 16-16, a request of Chad and Jeremy Wolf for review and approval of a conditional use permit to construct and operate an addition of 2 barns to the existing total confinement swine finishing facility. The current site is capable of holding 2,100 finishing pigs or 840 Blue Earth County assigned animal units, 630 state assigned animal units, and with the expansion will be doubling the capacity to 4,200 finishing pigs or 1,680 Blue Earth County assigned animal units, or 1,260 state assigned animal units. The proposal will utilize below barn liquid manure storage areas. The building site is zoned agricultural and is located in the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 12 in Luray Township. Mr. Meeks presented the staff report. The applicants were present and had no additional comment. There was no public comment. Following discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward to the County Board a recommendation of approval of the request based on the findings presented by staff. And the board action is a resolution.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And the applicant is present? No? Oh, there he is. You have anything to add at this time? No, sir. Okay. Anyone wishing to comment on PC 1616 for Chad and Jeremy Wolf? Anyone wishing to comment on PC 1616? And last time for anyone wishing to comment on PC 1616. Seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment portion of the hearing and bring it back to the board for action. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
A first and a second. Any discussion? Go ahead, Drew.
I just have a question regarding the how it sits on the map. You know, when I look at the map of where this particular hog operation is right now, operating at 2,100 holding pigs, and it's going to be doubled in size, and it meets all the requirements. You know what I mean? Sounds like it meets all the requirements as far as setbacks and all that kind of thing. But the only concern I had is the one question we're supposed to look at is the use and enjoyment of area, what's been going on around it, and it's not too far from our county park, the Bray Park, and I was just wondering if there's a prevailing wind that goes that direction, or if anybody talked about that, if that came up at all. I mean, is there been any issues so far? Will doubling it create more of an issue as far as odor and for people camping out and enjoying that area? I'm just curious. I'm just wondering if...
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility, and we did, you know, obviously that's one of what we look at when we are reviewing the requests. From the entrance to Bray Park, the barns are right about 5,100 feet away, so just shy of a mile. I did reach out to our new park supervisor, Josh Downey, just to see if he'd noticed any odors when he's been out there working on the site, and he did forward me on to the park supervisors just to ask their opinion. And basically the response is when the winds are blowing that way, which is occasionally, it is maybe noticeable, but we're talking a fairly minimal amount of time for that. We looked at the offset for models for these sites in the past, and it is the use and enjoyment in that direction is, like I said, it would be a fairly short amount of time.
So that was
Range bound.
considered at least, you know, when you, as a board.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, and then there, I don't know if there's a lot of cabins along that edge too. I don't know if they're aware this is happening, aren't they? I mean, we sent it out to, is it 1 mile? What do we send it out to?
1 mile.
1 mile get notices. So anybody within a mile, which would touch the edge of that lake, they would know about it then.
Correct. Yep. And, I just measured them this morning. It's right about 4,300 feet to the closest house. So there are a number that are right within that mile, but still outside of the setbacks by quite a ways.
Okay, thank you for doing that work.
Just a little history on this same operation, Drew. When they placed this one, there was a lot of concern.
You mentioned that.
Yes, and it's been non-eventful, and we could ask Commissioner Schoenberg, and he goes out to the park a lot. I don't know if
Be
you...
out there this weekend.
Yeah,
Check it out then.
I was out there last
I-
night,
every
looking at
time
another
I've been
issue.
out there, I
Yeah.
haven't ever noticed. I mean, there's some irritants, but they have nothing to do with,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, other
Well, I see the prevailing winds wouldn't
other
actually go
campers, or-
probably right directly north from the south. It usually goes southeast, doesn't it? So it just kind of,
It'd be pretty rare that
They'd
yeah,
miss it,
it's
kinda.
be coming up if you went in that direction.
Yeah, other campers.
All right, any other discussion then? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Third item.
All right. PC 17-16, a request of Aaron and Daniel and Carla Eberhardt for review and approval of a conditional use permit to construct and operate one new total confinement swine finishing facility capable of holding 2,400 pigs. The proposal will be in addition to the existing 2,400 head total confinement swine finishing barn on the site. And if completed, the site will have a capacity of 4,800 finishing hogs, or 1,920 county-assigned animal units, the 1,440 state-assigned animal units. The proposal will utilize a below-barn liquid manure storage area. The site is zoned agricultural and is located in the northern half of the northwest quarter of Section 19, Lincoln Township. Mr. Meeks presented the staff report. The applicants were present and had no additional comments. There was no public comment. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward to the County Board a recommendation of approval of the request based on the findings presented by staff, and the board action is a resolution.
Thank you, Chris. And the applicant is in the audience. You have anything to add at this time? Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience that would wish to comment on PC 1716 for Aaron, Daniel, and Carla Ebenhart, please come to the podium. Anyone wishing to comment on PC 1716? And last call for anyone wishing to comment on PC 1716. Seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the county board for action.
Second.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you, George and Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for investing in Blue Earth County.
Yes.
Brought to you by, what do you want to say, Ag Scene?
Yeah, brought to you by Ag Scene.
Ag Scene. That's pretty good.
We got a couple minutes before we do drainage, so we can probably go up and do one or two more admin.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 3 in your packet is the Human Resources agenda. We do just have informational items for the board this morning. We have received a resignation of our program coordinator in our WIC and family programs in our public health department, so we have initiated recruitment to refill that program coordinator. We also have received a resignation of a long-term employee in the Sheriff's Department, serving as the captain, so we will be initiating recruitment to fill that captain position. We have promotion of a Children's Services case aide to a social worker in the Human Services Department, and subsequently initiated recruitment to refill that case aide role. We've filled a license center specialist position in our taxpayer services department. And then we have 3 individuals that have been promoted to a probation officer 2 level in our community corrections department as part of the memorandum of understanding that we had with that union. And then lastly, we have a patrol officer that has completed their probation period and is eligible for a salary adjustment. So,
Okay, any questions on the informational items? Go ahead, Drew.
well, first I'd like to thank all the staff that are being promoted and hired and everything. Just wanted to say, you know, I haven't gotten to know them that well, but I've heard from people in the community about how much they appreciated Captain Rich Murray in his service to this county. I just wanted to say that I've had numerous people since I've been a commissioner for 6.5 years come and tell me how much they appreciate his work, both within the department and out in the community. So,
Yeah, Rich does a good job.
Yep.
Yeah, I think both Will and I can contest to how good of an officer Rich has been over the years. Rich worked with me on the Mankato Police Department before he became a deputy, and he's just one of those officers that you really, really enjoy. The knowledge, the experience, the humor, everything
Yeah.
that he's got. He has just been an amazing man, and he will be sorely missed.
and so when we see the terms trying to find a replacement, it's always hard sometimes to find total replacements.
That's correct.
Mhm. Any other comments? Okay, we got 9:40. We'll bring the drainage inspector staff up. Got a couple drainage items to deal with today. Morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Ryan.
Morning, Craig.
Craig.
Good, yourself?
Good, good.
Got the iPad today so I can follow along easy. We changed it up. You'll see the summary page. That was kind of asked of us.
Yeah.
Simplify things so you kind of can get a handle on everything up front.
Nice.
Because that way I can look at, what I did is I printed out this part.
Yep.
Then you can see if there's a photograph. If there's one in here, you can look right at it. And it goes
Yeah,
right.
and we were discussing if I wanted to put a link on there, but you guys can make comments of what you want to see or what you don't want to see
Right.
going forward too. So, but nothing too major to report. A lot of this stuff is just going to be weed and brush control at this point. The exception of a slough fund JD7 over in that Lake Crystal area. Otherwise, nothing horrible, which is a good thing. So.
What about this last week?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
last week, things are still trickling in, and we've stayed busy, but I thought it was going to be worse, and then maybe
Really?
there's still stuff that we're not seeing.
Cambria and Butternut Township were probably hit the hard with Friday's storm.
Correct.
Hardest, so.
Yeah.
Well, I heard Cambria got 7 inches. Is that right?
Something like that, and based on all the mudslides and stuff that I noticed when I was driving around,
Wow.
we have one big blowout of the bank on JD 10. Trees, there was must have been high winds too, because there's all kinds of trees down. So, and a couple trees we have to remove from the ditch and stuff, so.
Amazing.
JD51, I guess I should have mentioned too. There's a few washout areas, but I'm working with Soil and Water, Jared,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
to get some possible funding for some best management practice intakes.
yeah.
So those funds are available. We might as well take advantage of that, I guess, or use those.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So other than that, I'm going to be driving around this afternoon with the engineer, and we're going to be updating some of our current projects. So I imagine we'll get to see some
You're
other
gonna see some
interesting
stuff.
things
Yeah.
yet today. So
Okay, do I have a motion to do the repairs on the 5 ditches?
Make a motion to do repairs.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions, comments? Does this format seem to work
I like
better?
it.
You
Yeah.
like this?
Like it.
I mean, if you
Okay.
want that link on there, that's not terribly hard to do.
I
and then
think this,
don't have
we'll,
to
we'll
put-
try this, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like having that list laid out at the beginning, so
Yep,
Sure.
appreciate that.
Yep. No, it's easy.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Oh, I just had a
Go ahead,
question.
Drew.
When it says spraying, I know there's
Yeah.
different kinds of spraying. Is this aerial spraying or is it just on the ground spraying?
No, we're dealing with the contractor out of Algona. He seems like a nice gentleman. This will be ground spraying. The aerial spraying is, I don't know that I feel comfortable getting into that at this point in the season with where our crops are and.
Blower.
Right,
Yeah.
and that, but the aerial applications, you don't get an effective kill because they can't carry enough water. So this gentleman knows his stuff. This is all he does,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We talked, he does several other counties in the area, and he
Correct.
has good references from the other counties. so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know what they do a lot of times is they cut the brush and the trees and they spray the stumps or
Stump
whatever.
'em,
and they
yeah.
so they
Yeah,
die.
that's some of the things on really bad ditches, we might end up having to do that, so.
Right. And he will be, he's assessing every ditch, so essentially, We spoke about this at a different meeting, but we made him a list of anything that's got a buffer on it so he can get to it currently
Oh.
this year.
And
So we're
drive.
trying to play catch up. If he can get all of them, great. And then from here out, maybe we'll split it into this series of ditch every 3 years. So we'll go in a cycle from here out. But I just want to try and get caught up initially this year. There's a couple ditches that are pretty out of hand as far as weeds.
Okay.
So are we gonna kill all the weeds? Probably not at this point, but suppression's better than doing nothing, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to hook up with Josh too about something I looked at over the weekend. And I don't know how it relates, but it could relate to the drainage of actually of our county land out there.
Okay.
It goes into a ravine, and there's multiple gas companies that have pipes going through, and so then they cut trees down, I think,
Yep.
and they leave the treetops and stuff all over, and then that builds dams in the ravine when we get these flash floods,
Right.
and that causes erosion that's unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. If you
That over by the Poor Farm area?
Yes, right behind it and back in there, and you wouldn't believe the erosion. I got pictures of it. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's massive. It's massive. And I think, so it's a combination of problems, and it could be related to drainage, but it's not a ditch necessarily, I don't think. It's,
Right. Yep.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you.
County Ditch 28 bonding resolution. Morning, Lisa.
Craig, you just get to
Morning.
move over.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, Craig just moves over.
I have an additional handout here.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Lisa.
So we have a resolution to authorize the issue and sale of the ditch bond for $3,230,000 for County Ditch 28 and 78. What I handed out is a finance plan summary, which tells you what type of sale it will be. And we have a calendar of the sales date, August 22nd. They will be for 15 years. Right now we're estimating an interest rate of 1.78%.
So it's even got more.
That's a good interest rate.
Does he anticipate it going up by the time we get done with this?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, it's been a really up and down couple years.
Should we place a limit on it, do you think, in the resolution, as far as, like, not to exceed 2%, or?
Well, George will be here in August, and at that time we can accept the sale or not accept it, you know, based on, you know, what that rate would be,
Okay.
so.
Because it was lower, I think, just even a week ago, wasn't it, or
Yeah,
It's actually lower this week.
this week than last week?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the resolution to
So
move
moved.
forward to the bond sale?
Second.
Got a first and a second. Any other questions or comments? Pretty routine process for us, so.
Yep.
No questions. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, well, why don't we go up and just finish up the administrative stuff quick, and then we'll take a break.
Right, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 4 in your packet is a temporary liquor license application for the Blue Earth County Fair Association for July, so recommending approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5 in your packet is an application for a gambling permit by the Cambria Presbyterian Church for raffles that they'll be conducting in October. And again, that's been reviewed by staff and recommended for approval.
I make motion to approve.
Got a first and a second, any discussion?
Is this at, just at the church?
Yep.
Some
Yes.
It's a small church.
Fundraiser. for the
fundraiser for
church.
that, okay. I was wondering about it, or exactly what, yeah, what they called it.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6 is a resolution granting the sheriff the authority to sign some grant agreements to support the Towards Zero Death and enforcing underage drinking laws. And this is a resolution that the board has passed in the past, so we're recommending be authorized again for this coming year.
A motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, any discussion, questions?
I have a question. Is it like, this resolution then is just approval to sign what they do routinely almost every year, every other year?
Right, it gives the sheriff the authority to sign those documents on behalf of the county so that we can accept those grant dollars as they become available.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Financial status report is in our packet for information.
Right, this is for the period ending May 31st, so we do have the first half tax levy that's been collected in this report for the first time. You'll see our total revenues are just under 5% less than the same time last year, whereas our expenses are about 4% higher than the same time last year. Some of that is related to road projects and some of the funding that we received last year, and so our revenues are lagging a little bit behind because of that reason. Overall, though, I would say that our expenses are coming in where we expected them to be, so no major concerns in terms of revenues or expenses at this time. Under the enterprise fund, I just point out that our expenses there are exceeding our revenue. That's to be expected with the landfill building, so because a number of those costs are flowing through the enterprise fund, and so at this point we're about $300,000 in a negative status at this point. The second page then shows our cash balances. Again, this is kind of our high point in the calendar year with those first half taxes being received. So our total county fund sits at $106 million. That's down about $4 million from the year prior, so just for comparison purposes, I'll point that out to the board. But at this point, I would say everything's looking good, but certainly would answer any questions that the board might have.
Questions?
I was just wondering about the our sales tax and the state revenue. Did we find out where we're at on?
We
getting
did
the census?
receive an advance of 1 month in June, so it hasn't showed up in this financial report yet, but early in June we did receive payment from the Department of Revenue of $400,000.
Okay.
In talking with the Department of Revenue, they say they do this advance and then they'll reconcile with the actual reports and kind of do a final payment early in July. So that once we get that reconciliation payment, that'll give us the true picture of what our monthly receipts are likely to look like.
Okay. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to the last order of business for the administrative stuff for our state of the emergency declaration.
Yes, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, given the storms that did occur between June 14th and June 18th, we do have some severe damage that has occurred in parts of Blue Earth County. Commissioner Brunder, as the chair, did sign a declaration of a state of emergency for conditions resulting from the storm. You have some information there in front of you. We have 2 items that we need action on then today. So we're recommending the county board reaffirm the declaration of a state of emergency in Blue Earth County. And then the second item is approval of a resolution requesting assistance from the Minnesota Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. On a report I received this morning from our emergency management folks, right now the total stands at about $317,000 worth of damages that have been determined. Those estimates are still being developed, so that's a very preliminary number, but our threshold in terms of declaring the state of emergency is $114,000 worth of damages, so we're well above that threshold.
I will move the first one.
Second.
Okay, got a first and a second. Any discussion, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now the state of emergency declaration. Resolution.
I'll move the resolution.
Got a first, got a second. Any discussion? Questions?
I'm sure we're gonna see more damages,
Mhm.
because it takes a while to discover everything, it gets blown out and everything,
That's correct.
Right.
The city of Mankato is still assessing some of their damages, and that number is not included in that 317,000.
yeah. This includes infrastructure, I mean, roads and,
Mostly roads and ditches,
you know,
public
culverts,
drainage station.
things like that.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Let's take a break. Come on up, Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Hello,
Morning.
Phil.
Good morning. So you got like about a 5-minute, can you watch? I will just burn
What?
Thank you.
Wow. Looks like a pretty big packet of documents.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
Jesse
for
there.
later, kids.
That's the scary
all
one.
you there, so. Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thank you for hearing me today. I have several action items I need to bring to your attention. The first of those is under behavioral health, and it's contracted Rule 25 assessments. This is a outcropping of our jail project where our current assessor is being reallocated to some of that work in the jail and trying to help us set up a plan for where we're going to go with the jail project. And so in order for her to be free, we need to contract out some of our assessments. And you'll see in this item that the vendors that are willing to do this work for us are going to charge according to our sliding fee scale, accept insurance, and if there is no insurance, there's a $150 per assessment fee that we'll pay to them. The term of the contracts involved in this from June 1st of 16 through December 31st of this year. And then you'll see the list of vendors, Stages of Change Center, Open Door, Fountain Centers, Christian Family Solutions, New Ulm Medical Center, and Addiction Recovery Technologies are the vendors that are willing to help us out in this time of need. So we're very appreciative of them and their willingness to do that. Yes?
Can you remind me what that Rule 25 assessment involves?
So, I'm sorry, these are the chemical health assessments. So, that is what our chemical health assessments are called when the county does that, so. Yeah, that should have been more clear in that item. The next section is disability services, and again, this is a group of contracts that I grouped together for semi-independent living services. You'll see the providers listed: Smiles, REM, Habilitative Services, Harry Myring, Prairie Community Services, and Dignity for Life, who is a new provider to us. These services help consumers stay in their homes by supporting them with independent living skills. The term is July 1st through June of this year through June 30th of 2017. The rates remain the same, and there will not be any legislative increases for these providers based on this last session for the contract year. The next item, South Central Community-Based Initiative. This is actually a small grant award that's added to our base grant. There was a change based on some legislative mandate to do data collection and reporting in a new fashion, and that caused actually quite a lot of ripples in our system about how we could mine that data and report out that data. We did ask for help with a facilitator who could look at that from a statewide perspective, and in the end, the DHS was willing to supplant our costs of that for $5,000. So that $5,000 mark is just added to our overall base grant, and the term is really just to cover that one-time event. January 1st through December 31st of 16 is the term of the overall contract. The final action item is an administrative addition, community appointment. We have Sharon Tanley joining our Human Services Advisory Committee, resident of District 4. And those are the action items I have for you today.
We can take them all as one then again?
Thank you,
Also
Phil.
move.
Got a
Second.
first and a second for action
Or-
items.
Yeah.
Discussion, questions, comments? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I also have a couple of informational discussion items for your attention today, both under public health. And the first of those is just an overview of our circumstances with tuberculosis treatment. And there's a couple of slides I included. I really do think this is an area that I'll talk to Administrator Meyer about, maybe doing a work session on, just because of our increases in incidence of tuberculosis in our community. And you'll see a slide on that, and maybe we can talk more at a work session about this issue. Tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria, most often affecting the lungs when people cough, sneeze, or speak, so it's a direct transferal. You'll see in the slide the two different types of TB. There's latent infection where it's in your body but it's not active, and there is an antibiotic for that a person would take for 9 months to treat that. And then there's also active tuberculosis, which is much more of a concern from our public health perspective, and that is symptomatic, where there are the cause or risk of spread to other people. It may require isolation. There's several different antibiotics that people take for 6 months, and the daily observed therapy is that our staff actually go out and watch people take their medications. And because it's that important.
What?
Yeah, it's that important. We need to contain it. And we also have to do isolation and look at how many people could have been in contact with the tuberculosis, because it can spread quite rapidly if you don't do that.
Yeah.
Depending on where they work, that can become very involved. In hospital setting, sometimes a bigger employer, which has happened for us. And you'll see in the next slide the caseload statistics, and if you drew an arrow across the diagram, you'd see that really in every area from the latent to the active that we've gone up, and then the number of cases that we've evaluated just in this last year is markedly higher. So I would really like staff to be there and kind of talk you through what this does to staffing need, and then this idea of how we kind of try to cast a net to understand who might have been in contact and make sure we contain it so it doesn't spread throughout the community.
Have you got any thoughts on what's causing it?
Well, I think there's two things, Commissioner, that really cause that is international travel. I mean, that it usually is something that is transferred from other areas in the world, and so international travel, and then relocations, people that relocate from an area that tuberculosis is much more common, that come to our community. And so both of those are the real drivers as far as those statistics, and it's really gone quite radical as far as how we've had to assess and use staff time for this need. So.
It's immigrants coming in.
Right, but
and they've been
yes.
in like refugee camps, and they've
Sure.
been in villages, and
right,
and they haven't had the treatment.
Right.
And to keep them well from that.
That's right.
But I don't think it's. I mean, I can't remember all my readings from way back in the day, but I studied it too, and it's not very infectious when it's in the latent stages inside of somebody.
It's not at all.
Not very infectious towards other people.
No.
So you can be around people who test positive.
Right.
For TB, and very unlikely you'll get it. You know what I mean? It's if they become compromised in their health or something. And it's also being seen now in elderly people who didn't even know maybe they were carrying it, and then they get sick and they start coughing, and they think they have pneumonia.
Right.
And they got tuberculosis and they're in a nursing home.
Yeah.
I mean,
which can be very life-threatening.
Oh, and spread.
If one
person gets sick,
right,
it can spread like crazy.
That's right, exactly.
So,
right.
yeah.
The next slides are really an update on SHIP, and as you know, there's a lot of activity in SHIP. I tried to give you both this overview picture of where we're at as far as our mission, and then also the money, and then I also provided you some information about some specific projects, because in your districts there's often an interest but what's actually going on at the ground level. So we have both of those pictures here to paint for you. First of all, SHIP, obviously, we're trying to prevent chronic disease and reduce healthcare spending, so a double benefit to our efforts. We use policy, system, and environmental changes to try to encourage our outcomes in that way. The next slide, where it says here's how this happens, you'll see the opportunities that we focus on are active living, healthy eating, and tobacco-free air, and then the settings that we target in the community, healthcare, schools, and work sites. The next slide, where it says SHIP funding with the 2 circles, shows that in the first stage at SHIP 3, there was a 2-year grant that ended in October, and then you'll see the increase in SHIP 4, a 5-year grant that began in 2015, and it's $423,000 we know for the first 2 years of that cycle. So we have had a significant increase. And then what we've put this resource toward, I included a couple of slides. One is with child care providers, just to do trainings to make sure the providers are directly impacting children's life so that they can help create this healthy habit of physical activity. So they're trying to bring that right to the daycare providers as an example. And then also tobacco-free living, we just, this indicates, this slide just shows that we partnered with American Lung Association. We did a survey of current properties, rental properties in our county. 81% of those rental properties in Blue Earth County are smoke-free, just to give you some idea of how that splits out. If you look back in the report under my informational and discussion items, I listed several other projects that are active or completed in your part of our county, and you'll see those listed there in these areas that I just reviewed with you. If I can find it. And the highlighted areas in that narrative under the number 2 bullet, statewide health improvement program, so the SHIP piece, healthy foods, local dietitians with U of M, Echo Food Shelf. We focused on improving produce displays just so that it was more active as far as getting people to choose healthy foods. The active living bullet, an example of that was mid-block pedestrian crossings to improve safety, and that was up on Monks Avenue as an example. Partnering with healthcare providers, which included Open Door, again, Extension, and Vine, and that was to address diabetes prevention, chronic disease management, and balanced living at home. Healthy eating example, we had Farm to School program, which really shows kids how produce is purchased, prepared, and then consumed through this interactive method of education. Physical activity in schools, Safe Route to Schools, Eagle Lake Elementary, crosswalks, walking school bus, bike racks, bike education, and more. And then finally, worksite wellness, Mankato Hilltop Hy-Vee. They installed some bicycle racks for their employees and also have a weekly bike ride to encourage the employees to engage a healthy lifestyle. So just some examples of what's happening through the SHIP project in the community. And that's really all I had for you today.
Does our SHIP grant too, Phil, doesn't that extend over into Watonwan County or not?
The SHIP grant?
The one that we...
Yeah, it's contained for our county, but we do partner with other counties on some projects, so that might be true, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, any questions or comments for Phil? Wow.
How about that?
How'd that happen?
You guys really do have
A
something
lot
to
of
get to
information in
there.
such a short time.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I will say that Jay was planning to be here. I think he's got farm duties today with the nice weather, so I think he's out and about
would
doing
imagine.
things at the
Good
farm.
for him.
So
Mhm.
he says hello.
All right.
We got his
Thank you
report.
so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take
Thank
care.
you, Phil.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Well, according to my agenda, I've got everything checked off unless I missed something.
Mr. Chair, that's all we have for you today.
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause then?
Where are we going?
Busters,
we're
up
going
on
to
the hill to
Busters?
Busters.
Okay.
And this will work out good because we got RCF stuff at noon and then I got something at 1, so
Oh.
we'll go there in a few minutes.
And besides, that's in my district.
That's right. Do I have a motion to recess to Busters?
So moved.
Got a first and a second, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.